Greetings and welcome back to Becoming a Published Author is Fun, Episode 7. Today's subject is published. And in particular, we're going to be looking at a question coming from me, a publisher. I have been publishing since 2014. Now, most of that time has been either my books, my wife's books, and there was a teacher who wanted my help on a book, and there was another person who actually was doing a surprise for her mother and wanted to have her book published, and so I worked with her and published her book. So I've got some experience in publishing since 2014. So I know what I'm looking for as a publisher, and I have questions. And so what am I, the publisher, looking for? And the first thing I wanted to talk to you about is genre. So genre is something here is similar to that of a category. Not exactly, but very, very close. And so that is things. Now there are different types of categories. There is sci-fi, sometimes also called futuristic. There's crime. You could say crime and punishment. There's romance. There's historical. And the list goes on. Now, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I'm not interested in sci-fi. Why? Well, because sci-fi and futuristic are very, very, very similar to one another. The difference between the two is this is evolution, usually. Evolution. And I don't believe in evolution. I don't teach evolution. And I don't publish evolution. Those, I characterize those as having little green men. I won't even bother to write it down. Little green men. Futuristic is science fiction without the little green men. It is space travel. It can involve galaxies. It can involve super scientific inventions in the future. It can involve computers. It can involve if you ever watch science. The Enterprise, Data, D-A-T-A, was actually a walking computer, a humanoid, if you will. He was strictly a science fiction character, and that's futuristic. Even today, we have robots that can walk, they can use their hands, if they have hands, they can talk, they can figure things out. And with artificial intelligence coming along, that's also on the scene, and so that's futuristic, and so that's why I go with that. So it's basically science fiction, but without the little green men. Crime, I'll go with that. Romance, I'll publish that. Historical, I'll publish that. There are a lot of genres that I will publish, but there are some that I won't. I included science fiction. I won't do horror either, unless you can convince me that it fits into the Christian viewpoint, because we are a Christian company that deals with the Christian worldview. And so if it will fit into the Christian worldview, then I'm interested. But if you're talking horror, then it doesn't. You'll have to convince me that it actually fits into the Christian worldview. But I've got a number of genres that I will be willing to take a look at and perhaps publish. So that's the first thing I'm going to look at with you. Now the second thing, so let's check that I'm going to look at, is the title. The title you have is quite often a working title up until you get published. Your working title can become your title. So you may have a working title, and I'll look at it. I may not be very impressed with the title, although the better the title, by the way, the better your working title, the more ways you're going to influence me as your publisher, and anybody that is going to be your publisher. So try to come up with a good title, and you want your title to be related to your story. The characters, um, the story itself, whatever. You want to put some thought into it. But that is something that may not be resolved until just before the book is published, to have an actual title that you can, that's going to actually sell your book. That's one of the things people look at, is your title. Another thing that people look at when they're buying a book is your cover. Now, you can actually go and hire people to do your cover for you. You can hire photographers. You can hire illustrators. I know of a illustrator who, to my knowledge, he does everything from, he can take it from scratch. He can take a photo that you have and create a cover out of that photo, or something similar to that photo. Or it can be something totally different that you just simply describe to him as clear as you can, and he can take that and work with it and develop it, and he'll work with you. You can go to an outfit called Fiverr and find people who will you can hire, and there's other outfits out there that you can probably go to find professionals who can do that work for you. So I'm going to be looking at your cover, or your potential cover. You may have a picture in mind. You may have a picture in hand, and you show it to me and say, oh, that's interesting. And so that cover could very well become, or that picture rather, could very well become the cover of your book. If it's something you prefer, I'm going to look at it and try to make it work, unless it is totally inappropriate. But I doubt that it would be. If you're coming to me as a Christian and you want this, I expect it to be appropriate. But at the same time, it may not be related to your story as much as you might think it is. So this is something we would sit down and we would talk it over back and forth. But if it's something that you really want, I'm going to do my best to make it work. So, but again, that involves a cooperation between the two of us. And that's another thing I'm looking for. I don't have it on my list. But are you willing to work with me to get that book published? And really, that's going to come down here to when we get down to commitment. That's part of that. But before we get down to that, I want to look at content. Content is very, very important. That's your story itself. And for me, not all publishers are going to have the same desires. Me, I'm looking for 3 to 5 chapters. If you've already written a book, I'm going to be looking for 3 to 5 chapters so I can look at the book, look at what you've written, and get a sense of your writing style, how good a writer you are, and things of this nature. I'm going to get a clearer view of you as an author. Now, if you haven't written it yet, then that's fine. What I might do is have you write out the plot, or write out something so that I can get an idea of how you're going to be writing things. I will be working with you a little bit closer. If you haven't written one, I will be overseeing it a little bit, but I'm not, as a publisher, I am not working and I'm not really teaching you. Now, I do have a course that you can take to learn how to write, to learn how to be a better writer, to get you, and that ends up being published as well. Or if I also have a service that if you just strictly want to go there, and that's what I'm talking to you from now from that point of view, as a publisher. But I can do a little bit of coaching and a little bit of advising, but primarily I'm interested in publishing your book. So you should have something, at least in your mind, of what you want to accomplish. And so I'm going to want to find out as much as possible. If you have 3 to 5 chapters already written, I would love to see at least three of them so that I can get a picture in my own mind. Because then once I know where you're at and what you can do, now I have an idea of how I can help you get that book published. Next one is commitment. I mentioned before about working with me. Commitment involves you working back and forth with whoever you are. Now, if you're doing the publishing yourself, you're working. It's you and I working. Me and myself, the three of us, right? You've already heard that. Me, myself, and I. Okay, you're going to be working with yourself, and you're still going to want to ask yourself questions. You're going to have to be able to shift yourself from the shoes of an author to the shoes of a publisher. They're not necessarily going to look at things the same way. If you're dealing with me, I'm going to have questions. I'm going to have things that I want to see develop and turn and as it progresses along. You're going to want to see things from your end too. So that means we get together and we work things out. And if we can work together, that is going to go a long, long way. I'm not looking for somebody who is going to say it's got to be my way or the highway. I'm going to tell you to take the highway because I want somebody I can work with. Somebody who really, truly wants to have their best book out there so they can have that bestseller. They have at least a chance at it. And so I want commitment from them. I want commitment from you as the author to work at it, to put in the time, put in the effort, use whatever skills you have and to learn new skills if you need to. I want you to be totally involved in it, committed to it. And don't quit the first time you run into an obstacle. Two minds, they say, are better than just one. So if you run into an obstacle, the best thing to do is to share that obstacle with me, and we'll tackle it together. And we will do our very best together to work around it, through it, or whatever it takes to get past that, we can call it a wall, right? That wall, that obstacle, whatever it happens to be. So I am looking for somebody who has commitment. And one of the things you can do if you want to show me your commitment is when you contact me, say, I would like to learn more about your course, or I would like to learn more about ministry publishing, or I want to have my best chance to be a bestseller, and I'm looking at you as a possibility for being my publisher. So you want to indicate to me, especially that last question I just mentioned, that last piece of information you're looking for. If you're going to be saying, I want to know how you can help me to become what I want to become, then you need to also ask and show me what you bring to the table. In other words, just don't tell me I have a book and I want it to be published. You need to bring to me some evidence, and that's where that 3 to 5 chapters comes in. If you haven't written anything yet, write out you got a plot in your mind, even if you haven't written it out. Write out your plot and send that in to me. Write something out so that I can understand what you are about. I have a better understanding of where you are, where you're going, what you want to accomplish. And then we're at a place where we can start to talk, and I don't mind having a talk with you even before you sign up. I don't want somebody who's going to quit on me, and you don't want somebody who's going to quit on you. So we can have that little talk. It shouldn't take very long. All you've got to do is show me what you want to do. You already have access to information on me. You probably wouldn't even be contacting me if you haven't already checked me out. So the thing is, now it's my turn to check you out. And once we get all these things settled down, we can move on from there. You sign up for whichever thing it is you want, and we go on and move from there. Again, I offer two things. I offer you a course to learn how to write as well as end up being published, and I offer you an avenue for publishing a book you may have already written or are in the process of writing. In either case, I am looking for Christians who will be writing within a Christian worldview. It can be any one of these or other genres, and that we can work together to produce a product that you, as well as myself, but in particular you, can be proud of having written and now proud of being published. That's it for today. I'll see you in the next episode.